Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Equine Town Hall number 37. It's 1st of October, and I'm joined again by lovely co-hosts and co-founders, Marek and Fensmaker.
Hi, everyone.
Joe, we'll give people a few minutes just to join us here. And I apologize once again for not being on camera. I have not had the chance to actually get this resolved since the invitation.
Hi, Tomo. We'll wait a few more minutes. Some people might be a bit confused about the timing because of the change to the winter time in some of the countries, I'm guessing. So we probably will have less people attending, I guess.
I'm back on camera. Hi, Tomo. Hi, Miran.
Hey.
Hey, Recreator. Hi, Danny girl. Long time no see. Hi, Foxhill Stables. Oops. Back. I think we have one particularly exciting thing to... I'll keep expectations reasonable. One particularly exciting image to share this time. We have a bit of a sneak peek today. Not as animated as hoped, but still. I think we'll be happy to share this one. Lots of alpha. Yeah, whenever we can. Hi, Troy. Good morning. Okay, since we're at the 5-minute mark, I think we can start.
Sounds
All right,
good.
so without further ado, welcome again to Town Hall number 37. It's the 1st of October. We have a few more updates to share. So we've got, as usual, the art update. We have a little bit of a sneak peek, development, marketing, and AMA. So I'll start with art, environment and game assets. We have a little bit more testing and refinement of the procedural animation pipeline for jockeys. We've already made a set of animations for Anara. I wasn't particularly happy with how it turned out, so we're kind of taking a bit of a different approach just to see if that gets us as good results without taking much more time, let's say, and while using what we already have. The crowds asset I spoke about the last town hall is already ready to be implemented in the Ara Garden scene. The starting block, the racing gates model is being modified. The one we had was just like stopping at the top there with no place for numbers or gate numbers. So obviously it makes sense to have those gate numbers visually, let's say, demonstrated, as well as like a board on top for sponsors. So we're working on adding that. We've made more, I'm kind of creeping into dev territory here, but we've added more features for the zoom control in the racing camera system while working on the intro, where we want to show the horses. basically the control over zoom was not so great in our camera system. So we've added a bit more control there so we can zoom in and out as needed. So that's being worked on right now. It's been implemented, but our level designers are now like using that to make the scenes. And then the racing scene UI overlay is being implemented. So the different graphics for the racing UI overlay are being taken separately and implemented into the code itself for the racing. And that actually leads us to the sneak peek. We wanted to show you how that overlay should look. Now, the green part is just it's just a background color, which isn't what it should be in the normal situation. The green color will be the race, the 3D race, right? And this is will be what surrounds it. So the race name, the details of the race, the timing, etc. for any race you'd be watching. These camera buttons may not be available from the start. They're meant to be for switching the camera. We may start with just the standard, let's say a director's cut kind of scene. But then once the other buttons are also implemented, there will be manual switches of the camera. This is meant to show an interactive, let's say, scroll of which horses are in the race, as well as their order. And then obviously this mini map, if we have a specific horse picked, it should show you the number of, let's say, the furlong timings. For that, a small, again, 2D progress. So this is what we're now also implementing on top of the 3D race. Obviously, this is a work in progress again. So as we implement this, there might be a few findings or adjustments made, but this is a design after several back and forth. So that's one. Yeah, group one. It's just a placeholder. The text is not what it should be. Right. So that's one. Development, Nick.
Yeah, basically, we changed a lot of things, and as the final data format for the race schedule, as we're planning everything through the smart contract and the database and the server and everything, because we need a scheduler that will be providing the dates of every race, but it's got to also announce the races on the blockchain at some point, open up the smart contract so that you guys can register. So there was a lot of fiddling at the last minute because we planned a data structure like a long time ago, and now we're actually implementing it. So the last minute implementation details, there's a lot of little changes that have little impact throughout the code. Not a lot of things, just a few things, but just making sure everything works. So for the race scheduling, gonna go to the blockchain and come back to what's the next step, basically. So on the blockchain part, we've added an admin server endpoint so that we can send a new race schedule and have the server update all the planning of the races for the future, so we can parse all the data format for all of those, like the prizes, the conditions for entering the races, where are they located, when are they happening, is there a bonus prize from equine, all of those things. So that's 99% done. Basically, there was just one conflict with one field, so it's basically done. Now we've built incrementally on the smart contract. We've added the bonus pool so that we can add prize money from equine. For example, for free races, where splitting the money from the people that are registering to the race actually means zero. So then equine has to put in a bit of money so that it can be split amongst the winners, right? So that's the principle of free races. So we added that in the smart contract incrementally. Also incrementally, we made sure that when a race is not full, basically if there's 16 horses that can enter a race, but only 12 people show up, or only 5 people show up, what happens? How's the prize pool like redistributed amongst the people, and making sure that that's also done correctly and does not block the smart contract. So that's another little update. And we put in, that's a kind of a safeguard that I learned from the vending machine, is that people will always send stuff that's got no business in your smart contract or in your vending machine, right? So we made sure that if you send us like your space buds and random stuff, it does not get locked in the smart contract forever because it does not meet the conditions of the smart contract, right? We made sure to allow that if you make a mistake and send stuff in that has no business in the smart contract, you can still take it out. It was just a last minute thought of people are going to make mistakes, right? You can trust that there's going to be some mistakes. So we just wanted to be sure not to steal, but like we didn't want your stuff to fall in a black hole and be absolutely impossible to get out. So that's one thing we're actually going to test on the test net, right? Make sure to do the wrong thing, and so that we can make sure that everybody can get back their stuff and everything is safe. So the next step will be actually sending a race schedule, which we have a fake race schedule already done. It's pretty cool actually. You do the race scheduling in Excel, so it's really easy to do for the game designer or any one of us. It's pretty visual. Then you do the whole thing. You can just send that up to the server, and it will just start scheduling the races. So we're gonna do that very soon. Like I said, one field it was a little problem, and then we're gonna do the first scheduling on the test net. Then we're gonna enter it ourselves with our own testnet horses, making sure that a race can happen and all of that can happen. And doing that, we're gonna make sure that the UI of the whole race workflow, so showing the races, entering the races, showing the horse in the races, everything that was done with fake data up to now is gonna actually be tested with real data. So basically from the blockchain, from wallet interactions, from actual NFTs being put in there and using the real smart contract. So it's going to be the first battle test of the whole racing workflow is happening like very, very, very soon. We're right there. That's the next step.
On our actual servers, on the actual testnet instead of
everything on the
isolation.
testnet. So that will lead into actually having people test it.
Can I show what the schedule kind of looks like? I know it's not really public.
You want to show the Excel sheet?
Yes. I mean, if there is nothing secret there.
you can show it. It's yeah.
It's very improvised.
We've got a live question. Would it not be easier for the UI to only show equine horses so you can't select any other NFTs when entering races? Well,
we're already assuming that, but let's say somebody decides to have the contract address and manually tries to send something else.
So talking about the problem is that people do weird stuff. So they could take the smart contract address and just send whatever they want in, right? There's no way to prevent that. They could do that from their own wallet out of equine, right? So that's the problem. The problem is that people do that, or people do or people do bots to send stuff into your contract for no reason. You never know what people are going to do. So you just don't want the whole infrastructure to come crashing down if that happens.
Yeah, I'll share the schedule and come back to the slides if it's going to let me.
Troy is always so amazed. I guess he's being sarcastic now with the Excel sheet.
So this is no, I don't think he is. So this is not really meant to be presented, but just to kind of back up with what we have. And again, this is not the schedule. This is more like a test schedule, but it shows you the internal format that you're gonna have, and it's missing the names of the races, for example. Do we have that somewhere else? And then showing here, for example, what the entry fee would be, the scratch fee would be, reward distributions, where the description or the name comes, requirement age, the class, race type, handicaps.
The good thing is that with drop downs like this, only valid entries can be done. So our game designer can literally go over this Excel sheet, and it's hard to make a mistake. Basically, we try to make it very simple so that you can really think about the game design of this, like how many free races, how many maiden races, how many handicap races, which kind of handicap, all of those things. And you just click on the drop down for handicap, and you can pick from a bunch of handicaps that are pre-registered. And so it simplifies, it makes it that it's a higher level thinking to just do this Excel sheet and have that be the right schedule. It's easier. You don't have to be a programmer.
Yeah, it's easier for interaction, I think, with the team members, the non-technical, let's say, or not super technical team members. That was the inspiration for this.
There's a bit of a fan question here. Where did FenceMaker learn to work with the blockchain? I did a tinkering approach, basically. I was doing that while I had another full-time job doing biochemistry, and I just did that for fun. So I was just playing with it, building a transaction, and I basically just tried until I could do it. Yeah, so
Then
I did
there's
not.
one,
I learned it in my evenings.
like how the best things are learned. Troy has a question. He says, what would be really cool is if the schedule could be available for download so we can plan ahead. I mean, absolutely. I mean, for the first period, obviously, there's gonna have to be a little bit of balancing, tinkering around. But obviously, we'll be committing to a certain period ahead of races, and I imagine it shouldn't be too difficult in showing the schedule as a kind of a graphic or a plan that's shared even outside the platform. As in, we'll be publishing races on the platform so you can join, but we can also show what the schedule or the plan is. The same way we have a calendar now, it will need a bit of, let's say, nice formatting to, because there's going to be a lot of recurring races, say daily races, weekly races, and so on. So there's going to be patterns and some repetition for the races, but also gives you a chance to kind of plan and know that your, for example, 7 furlong, for example, juvenile or maiden's race is always going to be available at, say, 6 a.m., for example, 2 p.m. and 8 p.m. your time every day. So then you can like plan around and decide which one to enter, right? And it's going to be a little bit, let's say, it's going to be pretty easy to plan around. And the way we have instancing, let's say, or instances allowed, is that we don't really have to cram the schedule. We can have this repetitive pattern and still allow for more or fewer horses, basically. So on to the next one, marketing. Marek, please.
Yeah, marketing and community, right? So the first thing we wanted to start is with October being the World Mental Health Month, and we all know that the bear, crypto in general, but especially during the bear, can be a tough time. So just wanted to remind you that this is important, and we have a very great community that is very supportive of each other. And if you ever feel like you need to voice out something and feel to share or want to discuss, we do have a channel that's focused on that. We know a few people used it before, but obviously, it's there. So keep that in mind. It's been a rough few months at least, right, for everyone who is in crypto. There are some good things happening. There are some bad things happening. So we wanted to reiterate that we know it's important, and we are there as well if you need to talk. On the invitational side, so we will have another invitational. After some further discussion, we decided that we will kind of repeat what we did last time, with having one class in terms of the points, of slightly higher points of 132 to 150. But we will split it between colts and fillies again. Of course, purely from the game perspective, at this stage, it doesn't make a difference, but from the reality of racing, it does. So that also means that each of you can submit both colt and filly if you have them in the right range. We'll share more details soon, I think, on the Discord, but we will want you to submit them through Twitter like the last time. And we want to make sure that we avoid the issues we had last time with uneven number of submissions. So we will be accepting its first come first serve, 24 per each group, so per colts and fillies, because that allows us to run the competition in the automated way without keeping you waiting and delaying between the rounds. Will be 6 per round basically this time instead of 8. And so that's roughly it. We'll share a bit more about I have some idea on how we will run it to make it more fun, and instead of doing the idea, and it might still change, we are still finalizing, but the idea is to have people basically to have not a wheel that randomly decides the race conditions, but to have quarterfinals being 1 lap, semifinals being 2 laps, and finals being 3 laps. So that adds a little bit of challenge to those who are more strategic, because you need a horse that can do well in the shorter races, but eventually can win in the longer races within this stat limitations of 132 to 150 total stats. So that will be an extra puzzle for this one most likely, but I think if I check last time, we haven't yet officially posted about that. So basically expect us to have like a full official announcement next week, and follow that according to what is the final decision. And then if you move to the next slide, just a reminder from the last invitational, just again.
I just wanted to mention, I think this progression is maybe a bit closer to how horses would progress as they grow a little bit, let's say, older, where they start in shorter distances and slowly go longer, if they are, let's say, capable of running these longer distances, except that in Lovelace Downs, they don't really age. It's just, let's say, an interesting parallel to that. Let me switch to the next one.
And Tomo, you mentioned you don't use Twitter. You can have someone else submit for you. We can sort it out. Drop like maybe Troy can help, or we'll figure out something. But we want to do it through Twitter, because this way, you post about your horse, we can share it, and it gives a little bit extra setup and excitement. And speaking of excitement, last round we had the 131 and under, and it was quite an interesting competition with a bit of a different situation, both in fillies and colts. So here, the winners, first place, we had Elaine Marley from Clay Connoisseur, Fujila from Speed Farm was second, and Kielbasa Casa from Johnny was third. So congrats for those. And then the next one, colt winners, we had the Imperatrice from Dale D'Antoni, we had Javelin Fury from In the Money, and Gone with the Wind from Mr. 0297. So congrats again to the September winners. The prizes have been sent a while back, so that should be all there. And and we are looking forward to the next iteration, which will have a somewhat faster horses and a little bit of twist on the competition. And we will run the final, just to remind, October 22nd, right? So there will be a bit of time to submit. Of course, again, if there is quite some interest, we would suggest trying to submit early. And that's I think that covers the racing. Now we have one more thing on the next slide. I'm not sure if we'll be able.
Question from Chuck's, when do we officially go live? We'll handle this in the AMA, right? So let me go to next slide, which is, I'm not sure of the.
So we'll answer that in EMA. Let's see if you will be able to play it in a way that people will be able to see. I'm not sure if that will work, but
let me try something.
But in the meantime, just to let you know, Equine is participating in the risk game, which is inspired based on the board game of that name. On Cardano, it will be called Ultimate Domination, and the goal of the game will be to defend, secure, and capture all 42 territories, which represent 42 different projects on the world map. There will be some element of randomness through dice rolls, and then it will be a multiplayer of 2 to 6 people. Equine is part of it. We thought it will be fun to be part of something slightly different. We occupy a large part of Canada. I guess that's thanks to Nick, who secured the location, as he's already there. And let's see if we can play that trailer.
Not the best frame rate, but I think at least we have something here. Link people to the video, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll link the video later on Discord and Twitter because it's a YouTube video, I think. So yeah, it's just a fun side activity, but we felt like there's so many different projects participating. Why not have Equine represent? So we hope some of you will play, and we hope some of you will defend Equine for the world domination and grow from Equine territory to the others. And that's it from
Yeah, I
the
think
community.
I think there's been a positive also effect also on the community growth. That there have been
Yeah.
some new members joining in. I think it's been noticeable. So we welcome all of our friends who've come over from Riskcoin. We hope you enjoy your time on the equine side, and I hope that our community also find something they can enjoy on the Risk project. So thanks for that. All right, let's go to Amy. There is a question: once you name a horse, is it permanent or can it change if it is sold? So on the from a pure, let's say, pedigree point of view, horses should have their name as their official name. And I think the best workaround to this, because names should be immutable, as in if a horse has a certain record, it should always have its name. Otherwise, you have confusion of horses changing names. Technically, it may be possible in some pedigree communities, let's say, to have a formal name change request. For the time being, I think the best solution, not immediately, but I think it would be great if we can eventually have an option for a nickname field where the nickname can be changed, but the official name is the official name. So that's the answer actually to that question. There was I'll take a few actually from. Let me just have a look at Discord and then come back to the live questions here, in case there's been any new ones. All right, that one was from Speed Farm actually. And then there was a question of. There's actually quite a few. So when the usual when question, I think it's a fair question. I think we're happy that everyone has been and continues to be keen. Again, we appreciate everyone's patience. We're hopefully showing this progress in a transparent manner, showing where we're going. Progress is still as conveyed in the last time is still being made consistently. The blockchain part has been acting a little bit of has been doing a little bit of hide and seek and going further the more we get closer. But we are looking at that finish line for the blockchain part. Similarly for the racing 3D viewer. So we had a bit of a let's say slowdown at some point due to resources. Some team members unfortunately had to basically meet some other commitments, which caused a little bit of, let's say, a disruption. But we're back on track. We've adjusted our resources also to meet that change. So we are back on track in that regard as well. So we're pushing forward. I would say, Nick, can we expect internal testnet within October? Is that reasonable? I'm sorry if I put you on the spot.
For us, for sure.
Internal, yes. And if it does seem, let's say, likely that we can have it sooner to public, I think we'll give you guys a heads up also on how that's looking. But that's our internal target at the moment, and we understand it's been pushed back a little bit. We were hoping for much earlier, and then we were hoping for summer, and now we are seeing this take a bit more time. But at least the progress is being made. We're not letting this go, and we want to make sure that we get this out for players to enjoy. So yeah, that's going ahead. Tom was saying, all I want for Christmas is Equine. That's what I also want for Christmas. Our mint was in December 2 years ago. So I hope we can have something substantial by then. Not a promise. It's rather a hope I communicate. Nefta says, I want to thank you. Thank the team for all the hard work. What do you think is the best way to help the team is justify? And I think being here is an immense amount of help, because it's a big morale boost to know you guys are still here. You guys are still supporting us despite all the challenges that everyone is going through. I think the community's activity, excitement, participation is all, I think, a huge boost of morale for all the team members and the developers, the artists, everyone. I think it's one of the things that drive people to work harder, is to know that what they're working on is anticipated. I would say that's the main thing, actually. So thanks for being here. Then you got asking the same question: when can we race? It's the same answer. So we're working on it. We know that people are waiting. We're also really looking forward to having that. You tell saying release the game during the Bitcoin halving. Well, I think most of us would rather do that even sooner. So we're not really aiming to delay anything. We're not even timing the market, to be honest, just being fully transparent. Like some project would say, well, we're ready, but we're waiting for the right time so the market picks up, etc. We're not really doing that. There's none of that. It is genuine, let's say, time being needed for development. So development has taken far longer than expected, but we're still pushing as fast as we can. Yeah, that's the same idea. But yeah, there is this momentum happening. Whether we catch that momentum during the release or whether the momentum happens after the release, will be, I think, a side effect of that timing happening. But we want to be there. We want to be present, and we want to show this product to everyone who's believed in it so far, and to make everyone proud of what's been made. So I think there's no more questions. Yeah, no more questions. All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the update and the sneak peek. We'll be posting this UI overlay as well. We'll be posting it around, so please show your support in sharing that if you wish. And we look forward to showing you guys more. There's a last minute question from Danny Girl. Is the breeding side complete? We've finished developing the breeding, let's say, components. Is it just the transaction builders, Nick, or are those also done?
The transaction builders are done, so the endpoints are done. It's not all connected in the game as it is, but basically on the dev side, I think it's completely done on the transaction side. I've done already the DNA actual breeding of creating the foal. So I think the only few things that might need to be done is the actual scheduling of the monthly birth of all the foals and sending all the foals onto the mares. So the automation of the distribution of foals, basically, I would have to make sure. I think that's being worked on right now. I don't think that's done. So that would be the one thing missing, would be the distribution.
The big, let's say, massive labor ward activity at the beginning of the month.
All at this exact same time, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's that. Anyway, we have racing to keep us busy and testing races, and not that we don't care about breeding. It's just that it's actually, believe it or not, much more simple than the racing part. It's not as complex. Racing has a lot more conditions and details and scheduling and requirements and all kinds of stuff. Anyhow, thank you so much. I appreciate everyone's presence once again, and the Equine team signing out.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, everyone.